I probably had 1 or 2 actual off days where I wasn't working in the last 2 3 months, but that's fine. Like I thrive that way. But the whole behind the scenes process it's enjoyable, right? Like seeing something that you cultivated from a vision that you had, and just kind of manifesting that into a sense of like your reality. Seeing that is the best part. So behind the scenes, going through all that stuff, orders come in, I print them out, I do the inventory, I do the packaging, I do obviously all the shipping, and it's a one-man show. It's just me. Now, I'm not at a point where I'm scalable enough to where I can bring on employees.
Making moves, man. Jersey boys and SD. Taking it down, baby. Shutting it down. My man.
So talk to me. What's life been like during quarantine for you?
Yo, man, it's been interesting, man. You know, like my gym shut down I was working at, so that's gone.
You were at what, 24?
Yeah, I was at a 24. I mean, I was trying to get out of there anyway because it was just like, you know, it was a good place to work at when I got hired, when I first got here, but like it wasn't the goal, you know.
Yeah. What's your next move? Have you been looking around?
I've been doing a lot of training, like outside. So I've been training people in parks and stuff, which has been pretty good. I've been driving for like Uber and DoorDash and all that. I'm trying to do a lot more online training now, to be honest. So I have a couple like live stream classes that I do. But as far as like going back to a gym, I really don't want to. Like, I just don't feel like having to do anybody else's shit, to keep it real. Like, so I have to just keep doing a bunch of different things to keep the money coming in. And then I also don't know what they're going to be doing with all the protocols with gyms now too, because like every gym that I did see, they were doing. Are you still here? All right, here we go. Cool.
Yeah, I'm here.
You were froze for a little bit.
Same.
When with all the gyms, they were like changing the team. Like some gyms have a certain amount of, like they can only be at like 10% capacity now. So like with training, it's like they can only have 2 trainers in at once, while one person's training and like a certain amount of people in the gym. So it's a weird time, man. Like I don't even like being in a gym now. Is like I'm not even worried about that too much at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there from all virtual, online, and then outdoors. Quarantine changed the game, right? It's all about that portion of finding the silver lining, which a lot of people have been unable to find. But you know, if you can't adapt and you can't kind of expand kind of your methods, then you're just going to fall behind, which is unfortunate. But you know, that's some people are going to get ahead right now, and some people are just going to fall behind because they don't know how to adapt or adjust, which is again unfortunate, but it's the way the game is.
It really is, man. That's how the game is, man. You got to adapt and grind with everything, man. I see you making moves out here, man. Like
trying. Shit ain't easy. I mean, you know the deal. Everyone knows it's not easy, but you just got to keep pushing forward.
You do. So, I mean, we had our last podcast was last year, last summer. You know, what's been new since then, man? Any big change? I know 2020 just fucked the whole game up for everybody, but
it did. But in a sense, like again, I'm gonna say it over and over. It's finding that silver lining, like from adapting to kind of my business plan and my game plan around the 2020 launch, kind of rebranding Wake Up and Work. It benefited me. So my whole goal this time last year was to relaunch the kind of the new brand, the new vision by April or May this past year of this year. And obviously COVID happened in January. So what happened then was I had about 200-300 units on back order overseas. Some vendors here in the States had no product. So, you know, there's a scarcity of everything from product to printers to work to shops being open. So it pushed my timeline back even further. And then I was like, all right, I think a June timeline is doable. And then it was July. And then July came and right after 4th of July, I was like, all right, August 25th, it's a done deal. It's a wrap. Like, this is what I'm making happen. So quarantine and COVID kind of, it was unfortunate. It sent me back 4 or 5 months, but at the same time, it gave me that much more time to kind of plan, prioritize, and, you know, strategize a way to execute. And just launching the brand in full effect, it allowed me to get some models together. It allowed me to start with, it was like 510 units. So like, I'll show you right now. This is now my store, essentially, in warehouse.
Oh, that's dope.
So let's see, 369 opening, 21.
That's awesome.
There's about 42 cubbies, all with a different item and kind of stacked to the tits. So, the other thing was my girlfriend's an esthetician. She does eyelashes, facials, and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she was looking at opening up a salon sometime in the next year, like a salon suite kind of thing. And then an opportunity came about for her to get one in August. And then that happened quickly. So it was beneficial for the both of us. She was working out of this bedroom right now. And then she got into the salon very quickly. And then I got moved into here. This became the warehouse office for the both of us. And it allowed me to kind of elevate the scalability because this whole closet was in my closet. Or I'm sorry, this whole storage was in my closet in our bedroom.
Wow.
So the opportunity that she had kind of opened it up for me a little bit and everything kind of just came together. So yeah, COVID sucked, quarantining sucked, but again, it's finding that silver lining of the opportunity to kind of expand your game plan and kind of adapt and adjust and kind of succeed where you see fit and how you're able to. The other thing is, right, and not to go on a transit, but her and I have had more time together over the last 6 months than the previous year combined. It's the time that we've had together has come tenfold. I'm used to working 80-hour weeks, where now it's down to like 50, 55-hour weeks. And sometimes she's even working longer than me. So quarantine sucked. Yeah, COVID sucked. It hit right before my birthday. My birthday was in March, and we spent my birthday driving around La Jolla on a shitty, cold, cloudy day, just kind of driving through. Got some Italian to go from this restaurant called Cesarina in Point Loma, and we just chilled at our place. That was my birthday. It wasn't the plan. We were supposed to go to Vegas, where we spent several years working and living, and that's where we met. But just like everyone else in the world, COVID hit, and our plans changed, and life changed, and some people made a change for the better, some people made a change for the worse, unfortunately. So it's just about adapting and adjusting.
It really is, man. It really is. And like there's definitely so much more time you got to spend with people that you care about too. So that's definitely a blessing. Like even just like talking to people, like spending more time with me, my bro, or spending more time like I've actually like FaceTime people more than I ever did before, or like Zoom calls I did with like my family. We had like a nice little thing for someone's birthday. So I think like there's definitely a good side as far as like the time spent, what you're doing with each other, and like the the time that we freed up through this, because we're always doing, being busy doing shit, that we kind of spent with each other really was the one of the best parts of this. And finding that silver lining is the thing for everything.
Yeah, and the other thing is, bro, so many people found their out from doing something that they hated doing, right? A lot of people that either got laid off or just realized that it was time to move on and find something different. People found that out and found it as being a positive instead of a negative because it finally gave them the time to kind of go after what they actually cared about doing or wanted to do, or it gave them the reason to say, all right, I'm not going back to work because there's nothing there for me. Or the people that got laid off, it's like, all right, now it's time to actually do what I want to do, or time to find something else that I want to do instead of going to the job that I hate every fucking day, working for the person that I hate the most in the world. So there's so many positives that can come out of this situation as long as you can kind of manipulate yourself to believe and think that and understand that and see that for what it was. But there's so many people, and I still see it now as we're, I don't want to say nearing the end of COVID or quarantine, because, from a business perspective, obviously I'm in the hospitality industry. It's been one of the hardest hit. It's something like 45% of businesses that aren't coming back at all, these mom and pop shops and small businesses. But looking at the outlook for the next 6 to 8 months, people that have failed to have been able to capitalize on the opportunity are just going to go back even further. And, I don't even want to get started on the unemployment base. Yeah. So many people got on unemployment and were making $2,000 every 2 weeks. That was so much more than what their average 2-week paycheck was. Crazy. And I can't tell you how many people probably don't have anything left or saved up. It's crazy to see, like working over at the Hard Rock, the amount of people that were just buying bottle service with their unemployment cards was audacious as hell. It was disgusting to see. Like dropping 1, 2, 3K like every other weekend on bottle service because it's your unemployment card. It's people that don't have jobs, people that didn't save any money. The amount of people trying to flex with the unemployment was almost embarrassing. I felt bad for them, but at the same time, people were just trying to find some kind of comfort and normalcy in their lives. So to a fault, it's kind of the situation that they were put in, but at the same time, I know more people that didn't take advantage of the situation than ones that did. And those are the people that I feel bad for.
The bottle service, the unemployment bottle service is nuts. Every other weekend is crazy.
Just a flex, man. Just a flex.
That's a wild trip, man. But I mean, different strokes for different folks. But damn, bro, that wouldn't have been me, man. That wouldn't have been me. So how with the with you going on with your clothing brand, how has that affected you? Like, the shipment and the process of you getting like the actual like physical aspect of your product coming in and like the delivery and stuff. How did COVID affect that?
So half of my product, I want to say half, comes from China. And obviously China got smacked in the fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
So they were shut down for, I think it was like 90 days straight. And if anyone that's been paying attention, if you don't live under a rock, when China says they're shut down, you don't leave your house. So my suppliers were shut down and closed. So orders that I put in January, I didn't get until May. Like this is hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars worth of product that I'm expecting to come by February, the latest. And then boom, it's, hey, your stuff's not coming until May. So that set me back. And at first I was fucking pissed because I was so excited to jump the gun again and just kind of get this launched.
Mm-hmm.
But then I learned from my mistakes. The first time when I launched a company 3 years ago, back in September 2017, was not to kind of just push as much as you can, kind of plan and prioritize and strategize the execution. So it allowed me to put together pretty much a lookbook of 25 items that I put together that I spent 4 or 5 months getting together, getting the print done, getting model set up, getting photo shoot set up, just kind of planning everything ahead of time to get it all done at once instead of launching stuff individually like every other week. So the fact that I was able to kind of cultivate that, to put it together in one lump sum, so to speak, and get the right people involved, get the right product involved, and that was the biggest thing. So this 2020 collection launch was a 16-month process from April, May of 2019, when I began the whole rebranding and revisioning of the company and kind of getting products together and sampling. That's the hardest part, because one, it's expensive and time. It takes a while to get the right stuff. And two, you don't want to be the same cookie cutter company that's out there. The clothing and apparel game, especially in the fitness world, is such a saturated market where there's thousands of companies out there.
Yeah, there is.
So I dub my brand on, brand with a purpose built by a passion, in a sense where it's not just any other clothing line. One thing that I told myself I would always try to do when I get the opportunity to do so is give back to the community. So I'm working on a bunch of different outlets to kind of focus and reinvest in the community, especially here in San Diego, because my girl and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. So, people don't necessarily buy product for the product these days. They buy the product because why it's being sold, who's selling it, and the story of what it's about. Yep. So, my push and marketing on the product is what it's about and what it's meant to do and what it's made to do. And the whole wake up and work vision and message, meaning, and purpose that you're familiar with at this point is, in my opinion, far greater than the product itself. But I finally learned how to, test and sample product and get the right fits and the right product for what people like and desire. And, it's kind of all come full circle. But that whole sampling process, the print process, the ordering process, it set me back 5-6 months. Like the first time I launched in 2017, 3-4 months, I got product, I got t-shirts, I put a quote on it, and I launched. This process has been 16 months in the making now, to where I knew there was something there even deeper, and what I've been able to kind of, I don't want to say accomplish, because I haven't really accomplished anything, so to speak, but what I've been able to put together in a short time, and kind of the way I've been able to brand myself and kind of put myself in a position to be marketable in a market that's so saturated, it's been the biggest, uplifting and ambitious feeling overall. And just the amount of love and support for the brand and the look and the logos and what it's about has been overwhelming as fuck. And, I launched on August 25th, and I did more in sales in the first week than the entire 12, 16 months prior combined.
Damn.
Now, it's not to say it's X amount, because it's not, because all of 2019, I wasn't marketing or promoting or anything, because I was building the new line. But still, doing that in a week's time was it was pretty cool to see. And again, with me, it's more so about the support of the message than actually cultivating sales and procuring sales and all that. That's the bonus of it. The big piece is just kind of really putting the exposure and the message out there. But it was a headache of a process, but quarantining and COVID only helped me. It didn't hurt at all. In the long run, it was the best thing that happened for me and the company.
I think so too, man. Probably one of the best things that happens to me as well. So, and the fact that your sales went up in August is absolutely crazy, man. Like, just to show that, like, when you really do wake up and work, like everything goes out. I mean, you basically embodying what you represent for the brand, man. Going out there and making the change.
It's lead by example, right? It's practice what you preach. It's that to a T, right? If I wasn't living it, then it makes no sense. It doesn't mean anything. But the biggest thing that I've been grateful and humble about is the overwhelming support, from people I don't even know. That's been the coolest piece. Like when I first launched the company, almost all the sales I saw come through were people that I knew just supporting. Now it's maybe 30-40% of the sales I actually know the people. The rest is people that are just supporting from seeing it or hearing about it or just wanting to support the brand and the idea. So that's been the biggest piece. But yeah, I can't, it's almost sounds insensitive to say that I appreciate quarantining and COVID and what it's been able to provide for me in a sense of what I've been able to accomplish in a short time and kind of expand what my future is going to look like, not only just for myself and the company, but with my girl as well. And I feel bad for the people that haven't been able to adjust. It's definitely tough. People have lost their homes, people have lost their jobs, and it's a shitty situation. But if you can't learn to adjust and adapt, then it would have happened any other way, even if your company went out of business when there wasn't a COVID. You have to just learn to adjust.
You do. You really do have to learn how to adjust. What have you been doing to keep yourself like fit during this time? How have you been keeping yourself sane? I think I saw you. We saw each other one of the days on the convention center, I think, recently.
Sure,
Yeah.
Bro, I've probably run outside in the last 6 months more than my entire life.
Me too.
Not including like high school sports, that shit doesn't count. Not including gym class. From the moment I left high school through before COVID started, I ran less than I have in the last 6 months combined. It's absurd. My girl loves running. She loves running outside. So we got into that a little bit together. But right when this all happened, we were slow to, the Amazon game of buying weights and all that shit. And I had kettlebells up to 20 pounds. And that was really it. So I was able to run and use those kettlebells. I tried to get creative. There was one day I went to the convention center stairs with my book bag and the 20-pound kettlebells in my bag, and I would do lunges up and down the stairs as a workout for leg day, but it was hard. And then the second time the lockdown happened and the gyms opened and shut down again after we jumped on it a little quicker, bought some more weight, so we've been able to have some at-home workouts. We bought a stationary bike. I put it out on my balcony and bike in the morning.
Nice.
I'm not in the gym, but again, it's about adapting and adjusting. I hate running. That shit sucks. I'm a Stairmaster kind of guy. I hate running outside, but I learned to kind of enjoy it because it's kind of satisfying in a sense where it's like cumbersome and it's like, it lets you escape reality and kind of be alone in your thoughts while you're on a run, especially here in San Diego. The weather's been incredible other than these couple heat waves. But that's really it. Finally, the gym I go to, Fit Athletic Club, has been open now for, I want to say a little over a month, so it's been steady. And hopefully there's no sign of another shutdown here in the next couple of weeks or month.
Fucking Lee, man. God
Hopefully.
damn. Yeah, I've been running a lot more too. And then
it was tough. I talk a lot about how Wake Up and Work started and kind of my fitness journey dating back to 2013. And for me, it's always, as much as it's been about physical improvements, it's more so mental and emotional. And being in the gym and having the weights available and using that's kind of been my go-to from like a mental capacity. And not having that kind of, it slowly started to kind of mess with my head a lot. And over the last couple months before the gyms finally reopened again, like my girl can attest to, I was getting very antsy. I was getting, not so much emotional, but you could see it on my face that it was bothering me and it was starting to get to me again. And I didn't like that. And so at that point, I was running every day, just get some kind of release. It was tough. There was a minute there where, not getting the gym open for another week or so, shit would have been hard.
That shit was definitely brutal for a little bit, man. I felt like everything was just like I had in time. I was like, damn, I'm not working out enough. I'm feeling like antsy. I gotta get the shakes out. So I know exactly what you mean. So I started running a lot more too, running the convention center steps, running like by Seaport Village. It's a good thing that we are here because like at least all the outside shit was still good while we were doing it, you know. Because God knows.
Tell me about your training, like with your clients and stuff. What was that like for you?
Well, most people that I had, I was training a lot of older people. So like most of them was like, yeah, we're not working out anymore right now. Basically, they were like, yeah, we can't. During like the initial part, they were just like, we're not doing it at all. Like we're not training. Like we're done. And then the gym shut down. So then like basically from March to like maybe May, I was making most of my money just from driving. So I was just driving around doing either DoorDash or Uber Eats or one of those things, kind of just going there and driving around. But that shit was tough at first too because people didn't want to do it. Like, people were like, unless it was only deliveries, people would not want to do anything because it was just super lockdown, super shutdown.
Yeah,
And
people. That
then,
was people. There was so much fear.
yeah, it
Not
was a
to
lot of fear,
desensitize the
man.
situation, but people are just so wrapped up in it being afraid, and rightfully so. I was one of them at some point. As much as sometimes you either do or don't want to believe in what's going on and with the media and the government. The reality of the situation was the entire country was shut down. So
It was.
we still don't know to this day. Like, I know people. I have relatives that have had it, that have been in the hospital and stuff like that. So yeah, believe in it. I'm not saying I don't. I don't want to desensitize the situation or even get political on this platform because it's just not my world. But being kind of in that mindset, it just changed the way everyone looked at life at the time.
It did. It definitely did. And yeah, regardless of like the political things of it, shit got changed and a lot of shit got exposed. Certain people were just fronting more than they should have been, whether it be a big corporation or, Jimmy down the street, people that weren't doing things right. Like, time heals all and time shows all. So some shit definitely got fucked up. But I mean, no matter what, like, people that are really going to grow and make a change out of it are going to make a change out of it. Like, one thing I really want to do this year was get back on doing this the way I wanted to. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a new podcast out in 2020 the entire year until like when I started doing this again, which would have been maybe like August. I don't even know the date, but like it's good to get back in the flow of things that you were actually trying to do. So that's why I'm hyped, man. Like, I'm glad we're in this position now, regardless of what happened, obviously, because anyone that lost, all the sadness.
Right,
But
of course.
we're gearing up for 2021 and like coming in fucking ready and fucking hot, bro. Like, excited.
That's the thing, right? So like, I have the same mindset and mentality to where I've been looking ahead at 2021 for the last 2-3 months now, and that's the way to plan ahead. But we still don't know what the fuck this is going to look like.
We don't.
Come January, February, we can all be shut down again. Whether, especially after this election, there's so much unknown to this situation. Whether you believe in it or not, whether you agree with it or not, we're at the mercy of our governments, whether it's state, locally, federally. So we can plan as much as we want, but we have no fucking idea what's going to happen.
We don't. Especially here in California, man. I feel like our state's like one of the states that's really just like any moment in time. It's like this week, next week, everything's closed again. Yeah. Everything's done again.
Luckily, here in San Diego, we have a good board of governors and local authority that's fighting to keep us from going backwards. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to continue to go forward, but at the same time, at least for now, we're not going backwards, so we can still do what we're doing in this state of the environment and the economy, which is, again, there's so much unknown. So it's almost like a weekly occurrence where you're just fishing for information to figure out how to move forward.
It is, man. It is. So when you having your stuff come from China, what's that process like of like the communication thing? Because I'm sure like will the companies you're dealing with still able to talk to you the same amount they would normally, like through online, or
it's all online based. It's all online based. Obviously, I think they're like 14, 15, 16 hours ahead in that region. So it's tough. So like my communication is the majority of my communication with them is from 6 p.m. to midnight. Sometimes even 1, 2 a.m. if I'm up, which is maybe 2-3 days a week. And then when I'm up at 5:30, 6 a.m., like I'll fire back some stuff, but I won't get any responses because that's when they're sleeping. So the communication part isn't too inconvenient, just because I know the timeline now, and we're kind of on a timeline, and I have 4 or 5 vendors that it's the only people I work with. It's literally everything that I need. So I don't really look too far outside of that, just kind of because the process of getting that is, one, you want to get X amount of samples so you know what kind of product you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. 2 is getting to know the actual vendor and supplier. And, there's obviously always that chance where it's not so much a reputable source. So luckily I was able to find 4 or 5 suppliers that are my go-tos that I get everything from. So it's been people that I've been working with for now 8 months. So that portion of it took maybe 3-4 months to get the right people involved, the right vendors, the right suppliers, the right product, and just kind of hammer that down. I have a local print shop here in town. I have a vendor in Vegas. I have a vendor out here. So, I don't want to say it's all over, but I do have my set group of people that I work with, to where it's almost on like autopilot. Get product in, get it printed, done. Get product in, get it printed, get it done. The toughest part is sampling. But you can spend X amount of dollars on sample products. It comes in and shit, you got to do it all over again.
Damn.
So that's the process. But The convenience factors that I found the right people to work with.
That really is the biggest thing. People have to show you have to fucking deal with. Like, I love that Gary Vee's always talking about, we're both big Gary Vee fans. He's always talking about how important people play a role in the game and like focus on the best opportunities and making, you get the people working first. You get the people what they want. Everything else kind of works together in circulation. So I think that like that's fucking huge. But it's the whole process of like just listen to the process of what you have to do to like keep your just to have like a shirt available is fucking nuts. Like thinking about all the work behind the scenes that you got to do just to get the little bit of work in front. Like people don't,
Yeah, man,
people don't, they don't know it, man. They don't understand.
They don't, and when product comes in like a full order, there's a couple of IGTV videos on my Instagram where product comes in, I lay it out on a table and I inspect every single item that comes in. Expect it for any kind of defects, whether it's a rip, a tear, printing's done wrong, coloring's done wrong, anything and everything. Going through the pockets, the seams, the tags, everything. It's a process. It probably takes, typically my orders come in boxes of 50 to 100 units, sometimes more. Very rarely that it's less. Process is anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours of going through that.
Wow.
Working a full-time job on a full-time salary and doing that full-time on my off. Like today's a day off, but it's not an off day. I probably had 1 or 2 actual off days where I wasn't working in the last 2-3 months, but that's fine. Like I thrive that way.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole behind the scenes process it's enjoyable, right? Like seeing something that you cultivated from a vision that you had and just kind of manifesting that into a sense of like your reality, seeing that is the best part. So behind the scenes, going through all that stuff, orders come in, I print them out, I do the inventory, I do the packaging, I do obviously all the shipping, and it's a one-man show. It's just me. Now, I'm not at a point where I'm scalable enough to where I can bring on employees, which is a blessing and a curse. There's days where I'm at work for 10, 12 hours and there's orders coming in and I can't get to it until later in the day. But still, like that whole process, I'll be here midnight, 1 a.m. getting the orders done, packaged, and ready to ship out the next day. So yeah, it's a challenge, but when it's that whole practical saying, when you do what you love, like you're not working. I enjoy it. It's a blessing. The biggest thing for me is I've been getting caught up a lot more on the whole marketing and social media and just advertising portion, which I don't have a strong background in. But I've had some help from people that I've known over the years, and just being able to kind of create, design, and submit ads and all that stuff. That's been the most intricate part. Mm-hmm. But, obviously, once I get to the point where I can scale up and hire the right people to kind of handle that, that'll be ideal. But until then, it's all me. But the behind-the-scenes process it's enjoyable. It's fun.
It is, man. All
it sucks.
All the little shit.
It sucks, but it's fun. It's when it's something that you believe in so much that you love it, it's enjoyable. You can't hate it. And that's the other thing, right? It's part of the process and the journey that you need to enjoy, or it's not really what you want to do. People want the results. They don't want to do the work. And the whole part of wake up and work is, what are you willing to sacrifice? How hard are you willing to work to get to where you want to be? And it's part of my process to get to where I want to be. It
is, man. All the little shit you got to do. Everybody wants to be in shape. No one wants to eat healthy and work out. We got to, the love of doing that little tedious thing is where all the joy is. That's where everything really counts. Now, what is your, as far as you figuring out like your moves and like designing your next type of clothing or your next type of brand, what's that process like for you mentally? How do you think about it? Do you like see something get inspired, or are you like, okay, I want tank tops this week, or I want shorts coming up next? What's like that thought, your process for like designing things?
So it's circumstantial, right? Like with this launch that took place in August, it was more so that sports bra, tank top, gym shorts. It was more that summer, spring look. Mm-hmm. Coming into the fall, now we're already in the fall, and where I'm from, back in Jersey, it's already 60 degrees out every day. So I'm a little behind, but I know that next portion is that fall winter wear. So I'm actually in the process of designing hoodies, sweatshirts, more joggers, crop top hoodies for women, some long sleeve loungewear sets and yoga sets. So that process has already begun 2-3 weeks ago now. Now it's where I'm just waiting on samples, and then I already have the designs down. It's just if the product works out, then it's boom, order, another photo shoot, another process. It's circumstantial. You always got to try to look ahead. again, being in a position to where it's a one-man show, it's hard for me to look so far ahead without kind of getting myself behind. So it's almost like a cat and mouse game. But I do, being in the nightclub and bar industry for like 6, 7 years now, there's one point in my life where I wanted to eventually open my own bar or club. So what I would do when I went to other restaurants, bars, clubs, I would take note to the attention to detail and just kind of get ideas of what I would want it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
But now in the past 2, 3 years, when I'm in the gym, I see what people typically wear. I look at certain designs. I look at certain logo placements for other brands. I look at certain looks, whether it's on women or guys, not in a weird way, but in a sense where, okay, what's like the new trend right now? So it's a research-based process, because you can't just throw darts at the fucking wall and expect to hit the target, right? You got to kind of set yourself aside to where you have a different look and design and feel, but at the same time, you got to go with the trend to what people enjoy wearing, right?
You do.
Thinking outside the box while kind of staying somewhat uniform to what's the trend is today. So it's a strange process. I don't want to say confusing process, but it's a process nonetheless.
That's a good way of saying it, man. I think the similarities between what you're doing and what I have to do too are pretty much the same. Finding what things that you like that are true to what you like to do for your brand and yourself, but then seeing what things are popular too, and then finding where they meet up in the middle. So like you definitely have to like assess different things. Okay, I like the way this looks, or I like the way that looks right there. People are wearing these now. Kind of seeing the trends and then throwing what you know best at what the trends are and kind of meeting in the middle. I have to do that a lot too with this.
It's finding that perfect medium. So before I gathered my first 25 to 30 items for this new launch back in August, I did a lot of polls on Instagram and Twitter. It's like, hey, what do you guys like more of this design or this design? The same exact t-shirt, just a different logo replacement. And I took a lot of the feedback that I got that I implemented into the actual product. Now, I'm not going to, on a given day, if there's a poll with one item and 2 different logo placements, like the sleeveless tank I have on right now, if I had a different logo across the middle, and that one was, 95% people like that instead of 5% of this wouldn't be the product. It would be the other one. So I'm not naive and ignorant to kind of, this is what I want. It's what do the people want? You got to pay attention to the market and pay attention to kind of the trends and what people want. And that's how you succeed. Like there were probably 3 or 4 items that popped off. Like I sold out in a day when I had like 30 or 40 items.
Wow.
There were also 4 or 5 items that I've sold 2 items since I launched.
Wow.
It happens. So you got to kind of take that and twist it and kind of manipulate it to your advantage the next time around to where, okay, this doesn't work, so now I have to change it. It's adapting and adjusting. You'll hear that in business over and over again. You need to adapt and adjust, or you're going to find.
That's the truth. That is the truth, man. So what's your morning routine like for yourself? Like, are there certain things, do you have certain things you do to get into the mindset to get like ready to wake up and work?
No, not necessarily, just because it's been so routine for me now for the last 3.5, almost 4 years. I'm at the point now with, going to fit, there's time slots that you have to sign up for. I'm usually at work by 9:30 every day, and out of work at this point by like 5:30 or 6. That's my typical schedule at work. So my typical workout is 6 a.m., work 9 to 6, and then back in the gym at 6. So, having to be signed up for that, you have to pretty much stick to what you're committing your schedule to. Because now there's which all gyms do that have the sign up process, is if you don't show up, you're pretty much taking a spot away from someone else who could have went. So you get charged a cancellation fee. So, signing up for that class, you're committing to the time that you're going. So right now I'll typically do a 6 a.m. workout like 4 or 5 days a week. So I'm up by like 5:15, 4 or 5 days a week. On my off days, I go from 6 a.m. workout to an 8 a.m. workout. So my off days, I get like an extra hour or so of sleep. So like yesterday and today, I was in the gym at 8 instead of 6. I go through my morning routine, work out, come home, breakfast with my girl. I go to work, she goes to work. After work, I go to the gym, come home, wake up and work, orders, marketing, shipping, whatever it may be. She comes home, we have dinner, we relax with the kids, aka our dogs. And our kid, and then we go to sleep. That's my daily routine on days that I'm working. My days off are not days off. We're fucking slammed, or I'm slammed. Like today's a day off for me, but it's not a day off. Worked out at 8. I had to go to the post office, drop off some orders. I took my girl to work. I'm here on the podcast with you. I have another workout at 2. I have a vendor conference call at 3:30. I have some marketing I have to do for Wake Up and Work. I'm working on product giveaways, so I'm doing the marketing there. I'm working on a couple of my partnerships. So I'm sure you saw the last couple of weeks I've announced two pretty big partnerships.
Yeah,
One
man.
here in San Diego with a Fit Athletic Club. If you're a member, you get 20% off Wake Up and Work merchandise. I signed a partnership with NPC News Online last week. That's a pretty big one. It's something I was working on since February. So like I was trying to get that done for months, but COVID hit and it just set everything back. Finally got that underway. I'm working on 3 more partnerships right now. One with a meal prep company and one with a nutrition company.
Nice.
And then the third one is with another gym somewhere else that I used to live. So, it's nonstop, but it's part of that drive and that process that you have to enjoy, or you're not gonna be able to actually enjoy the happiness side of it or the successful side of it unless you enjoy the process.
Yeah. Yeah. You really have to enjoy the grind, man. You got to enjoy doing the little stuff. You really do.
And if you don't, then you need to find something else that makes you enjoy it.
It's all the process, all the journey. It's all about the little things, man. Like it sounds so cliche, but every time I say it, I'm like, nah, it's the truth. Like it's the truth. It is what life is about. It is what the game is about. It's all a journey. You kind of just go and grow with it. Going and fucking growing with it.
Bro, the results are the bonus. That's the bonus. You get the most fulfillment out of life of doing stuff that you enjoy, doing stuff that's going to kind of bring value to your life and the people around you, and that's going to make you become a better person. It's all about fulfillment. The results is just the bonus side of it.
That is, man. The one thing I really like about doing with this, about my podcast is now what I kind of want it to be, is that I want it to be more of a like a process type podcast, because a lot of times we see someone all the way at the top, like we'll see you, 10 years we're seeing you, you got everything's already on, you're in storage, you got all the big things happening then, but they didn't see this they didn't see you alone in your second room with your closet, with the stuff around your house, So I think like just having that process and showing that process is just so important for people so they can just see like there's so many middle steps between the end goal and where they want to be. Now, if someone wanted to start their own, fitness fashion brand, what were some things you would have them start with doing? What first steps would you have someone take that wanted to be where you are in your position?
I think first thing you need to come up with if you want to start a power line, and that's not just for fitness, right? It's for anything. It's why. What's the end game? What's the purpose? What's your passion behind it? Why do you want to do it? So as soon as you know your why and kind of your purpose behind building a brand, whether it's clothing or anything else, it kind of allows you to kind of plan out a goal to kind of get to where you want to get to. And then you have to follow those necessary steps, right? So when it comes to clothing, you need to find clothing. You need to test product. You need to find vendors. You need to find partners. You need to find people that are willing to test out your product to see if it's even going to sell. So testing the market is a big deal, but again, you need to find the right clothing first. But at the end of the day, I think it all starts with your why. Why are you starting it in the first place? And then once you know that, then you take the next step. The next steps. You got to find the right clothing. You got to come up with the right look, and you got to see if people are even going to like it. But again, at the end of the day, you're not marketing product. You're marketing yourself. You're selling yourself, essentially. You're not selling a product. People have been supporting me and supporting the brand and the message because they support what it means. They support what it stands for. They support my story. And, everyone's got to use their story to their advantage. There's a quote that it's probably my favorite quote ever by Gary Vee. I've been high on him for 4.5 years now. It's whatever you do in life, your job is to tell your story. And I think your story is going to sell more products than the product's going to sell ever. And just having that story down to use your advantage, that's what people buy. People don't buy your product, they buy your why. So I think that's what you need to find some sort of advantage in having a unique story about your why and why you're selling in the first place that you can brand and make a marketable product about, right?
Well, I 100% agree, man. Your why, your story, that's everything. That's all it really is, just whys and stories, man. So, Louis, if anybody wants to find you, how do they find you? Louis P, how they contact you? How do they get the
Kid, I feel like
outs?
at this rate, it's too many ways. It's so many different channels. On Instagram, it's at wakeup_and_work for the Wake Up and Work brand. My personal one is at Lewis_Pisano. Wakeupandwork.com with the letter N, not A-N-D. I'm sure you'll plug it in.
Yeah, everything's been plugged up. But I just like having heard it from you first, you know.
Facebook at Wake Up and Work, at Louis Pisano. Those are two generic that'll pop up. Twitter, I more so just talk shit about the Jets because they've been my team since I was about 6, and I hate their fucking guts and their entire organization. So don't worry about Twitter. But yeah, wakeupandwork.com, Wake Up and Work on Instagram, and Louis Pisano on Instagram.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show, man. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and take care.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yo,